Why is branded apparel so important for your company? Well, because a shirt or even a hat that has your brand on it gets worn to grocery stores, baseball games, or even family reunions. The impressions are endless and they last years. Contact us today so we can help elevate your company.
Well, indeed. Happy race day, everybody. Live from the Media Center here at Circuit of the Americas for NASCAR at COTA. Showtime Bobby Chaffee, our good buddy, Speedway Stu Myrick this weekend. Rodney is actually on work duties this weekend. So that leaves Stu and myself to cover this wonderful event. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed race day. It's a beautiful day. Mr. Myrick, tell me, what is your impression so far of today?
Well, first of all, do you know how many nicknames I've got that starts with S?
A lot.
Speedway, Super Bowl, Suplex, Sideline, something with soccer. I forget because I used to cover Austin FC. Anyway, it's a beautiful day out here in Elroy, just outside of Austin.
Locals say Elroy. Everybody else says Austin.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things. Yeah. Because, we're off FMA 12 down south of the airport. It's, any day to be out here for a race day is great. And you and I were just talking about it before we went on the air. I've been lucky enough to be out here for Formula One and IndyCar and WEC and V8 and MotoGP and, of course, NASCAR. And I always have a blast. So this is just another day to have fun, watch some good racing, just like we had yesterday with the O'Reilly Auto Parts run, the Focused Health 250. And looking forward to it. Should be a blast today.
Yeah, for those that have never been, when you come to the different race days, I've got some friends that are coming. One of my buddies, Cato Martinez, who wants the shout out today, gets the shout out. I may do it twice, make sure he hears it. But he's been my friend for at least 40 years and been trying to get him to come to a NASCAR race forever. So he came out yesterday, and I called him this morning and I said, make sure you get here early. He's like, well, we're stuck in traffic. I said, I guess I should have called you earlier to tell you to get earlier. Because as of right now, before we came on the air, there are as many people here now, 2.5 hours early, than we had all day yesterday.
Oh, I believe it.
The temperature, not just necessarily the ambient temperature, but the temperature of the day, you just get a different vibe on Cup Sundays.
You're absolutely right. It is. And I'm looking right now, according to my little Apple, it is currently 76 degrees here it centers in Del Valley because, of course, we're right down the street. Del Valley High School, home of the Cardinals. 76 degrees, supposed to get up to 83. And you're right, especially with a NASCAR day, because there's so much to do. The fan zone, our buddy Rodney Rodriguez is up there with the O'Reilly Auto Parts booth and everything. There's the fan zone. There's, of course, they'll have, different things going on. So, yeah, you really do want to get out here early, enjoy all the amenities that Circuit of the Americas has, in addition to, of course, seeing the race. So, and it's not a close drive, by any stretch, even if you live in Austin, and
it's
especially
30 minutes from everywhere.
Well, and me, I'm almost in Cedar Park. I'm on Palmer Lane, just west of Mopac. So it's probably a good 25, 30-minute drive in good traffic, and that's using the toll road. So it's not, it's not like you just down the street. So, but it'll fill out. I think we've had past years upwards of 50, 60,000 for a Cup Series race. Expect that today, and especially again, the weather is cooperating. I mentioned to our friend Scott, who leads up the team from Speedway Motorsports. I said it's a vast difference from 5 years ago when it was just rainy.
But there was more people here that day, knowing it was going to monsoon.
Yes.
And speaking of being here that day, our first guest of the day, live here for Circuit of the Americas, who will be joining us shortly, will be classing up the joint.
Oh, of course. Well, I was going to say any guest is going to class.
She's going to be classing. She's going to be classing up the joint.
Yeah.
And if you're familiar with the shows we've done here in the past, she is one of our show favorites, a great friend of the show. And if you're going to be here on the grounds this weekend, you will see her all over the place because she's going to be on those big giant TVs. We are joined by the one and only Miss Jacqueline Drake. Hello, Jacqueline. Hello. Thank you for joining us again. How's it going so far today?
It's going good. It's super warm out there, which I love because we had a.
There we go. Let me turn the mic on. It's been a great day so far. Last weekend in Atlanta, it was freezing, and we talked about this earlier yesterday. But it's nice to have a warm day, especially after the clash. It was hailing in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So I think everybody's really excited that we're here at a sunny, happy race day.
I tell you, you mentioned it was cold in Atlanta, so I was there it was years ago when they hosted Super Bowl 53.
Yeah.
Good God, it gets cold there.
It does. It does.
And that's that's end of January, beginning February. So, but man, I got there and I was not. I brought a coat in case. Boy, did I need it.
Yes, and the wind, it was about 40 miles per hour.
Whew.
So it's something that I feel like most people don't think about Georgia. You think, oh, it's in the South, it's warm there. No, they have winters.
It gets cold. It gets cold. You're right. Let's talk about what you expect to see today.
Yes. So I have really been following closely on the Tyler Reddick story. Obviously, I don't know if you guys have already hit on this, but the double, back-to-back wins he's had. If he wins today, he's going to be the first driver in NASCAR history to have ever won the first 3 opening races. And earlier this week, I was thinking, might be possible. He has won here once before in, I believe, 2023. But then for him to come out here and get the pole yesterday, I am keeping my eyes peeled because I would love to see Reddick pull that off since nobody else has done it before. But then we also saw SVG yesterday. Strong day. Of course, our road course racer in the field. So I'm hoping for maybe one of those two to win and show their muscles a bit. But I could definitely see a first time winner here at COTA because it gets crazy, especially up in that turn 1.
Yeah, turn 1's crazy. In terms of the way this place has evolved over the years, you've been here a lot of times. Obviously, you're a Texas native. We talked to you before. In terms of the way this place is, it feels like the first year, we were just talking about it. The first year, everybody came knowing it was going to rain.
Yes.
And people came prepared with everybody came prepared with their rain gear. They came prepared with their umbrellas. But this place was jam-packed despite the tsunami that came through here. But it seems like not only have we seen it with the resurgence the last couple of years everywhere, like places like Atlanta, Daytona was sold out again. There seems to be another good buzz about NASCAR coming around. You go to way more tracks than I do. Are you noticing more people in the grandstands and more buzz in the pits? I mean, tell us what it's like on the ground level from what you've seen, if the swell of the positive momentum of the sport is actually there.
Yeah. So I think just like any sport, we have our marquee races, right? Like where you're going to find those big, like Chicago, right? First time you ever went to Chicago, or of course the Daytona 500. But certainly at the ones that aren't necessarily always the marquee, I've seen much more fan participation, and NASCAR has statistically seen an increase in first-time fans that are attending these races, never been before or had interest at all. So I kind of connect that to a bit of just some of the marketing that's been going on. And then, of course, they've been trying a lot of new things. So they've been getting a lot of buzz around some of the new pieces and new venues that we've gone to. But I have always been a lover of racing. So I love to see that more people are interested in it. And I think a fan of any racing is a fan of all. So even with F1 having success or IndyCar having success, it ultimately is a success for all of motorsports, because if you go to one of those races, then you might say, well, what is like in my backyard? Is it a NASCAR race? Is it a short track race like we see on the local level? So I definitely have seen more of an interest. Excuse me. But I am glad that people are, wanting to come out and support and be involved in it, because I think once you do, then you get hooked and you're like, okay, who's my driver? Who am I cheering for this weekend? Who am I going to be, part of that community?
Well, and they say rising tide uplifts all boats. So NASCAR's got a documentary coming out. It's kind of on the heels of what F1 did with their documentary. Do you think that leads to the, shall we say, a little bit of resurgence in popularity coming off what F1 has enjoyed with theirs? NASCAR kind of, taking that page of the playbook and doing it
Yeah.
on their own style.
You're speaking of full speed,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we had full speed for 2 seasons, and they were all playoff focused.
Mhm.
And there is going to be a 3rd season of full speed that'll be on Amazon. In addition to that, though, we started shooting Rising last year. So Rising came out, followed Jesse Love, and I believe Hocevar and one other driver, but they're continuing that just with the younger blood that's kind of coming up through the sport and make Zillage, right, making a name for themselves.
Yeah.
I do think that is part of it. I mean, NASCAR is big on content and making sure that fans are getting that behind the scenes piece. So yeah, I think, again, like what you mentioned, like rising tides is a good thing for all. But yeah, I think that could be a good pinpoint to why we're getting a new fan base.
Yeah, I was talking to Ryan Blaney yesterday during the bullpen interviews and stuff. And when I talked to him, I was like, for those that don't know, he does a Sirius XM morning show section or segment for like an hour, like every other Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I was telling him, I said, I said the fan in me loves that because it's so great. And we saw it with some of the different documentaries. You realize that your sports stars are human. We see that more in NASCAR than we do other sports. Because the only time you used to see NFL players and all of that stuff and baseball players is when MTV used to be the Show You My Crib show or whatever that show was.
I love that show.
Cribs or whatever. So,
Yes.
we always talk about the NASCAR stuff. You know this by being here. Stu knows this by seeing it and doing it ourselves. The athletes, the race car drivers, you get up close and personal with them and can take a picture with them 5 minutes before the prayer and the national anthem. You don't get to see that in any other sport. Now you get the behind the scenes to see these guys. You got Ryan Blaney's llama, you got Joey Logano's chickens on his farm. You got Denny Hamlin, in his helicopter pad there outside of Mooresville on the lake, right?
Yeah.
Lake Norman. So I think the way that everything has turned out the last couple of years, obviously the new Hell Yeah commercials, everybody was super pumped about those commercials. From the NASCAR production side, because we talked about it yesterday with your office being a NASCAR production.
Yes.
What's the buzz around that place? I mean, is it just everything that we see this weekend, everything that I've seen, knowing the friends in the industry, everybody's just positive, and that's something that we hadn't seen in a couple of years. It's just like everything is just good.
I think I'm always positive. I feel like I'm the positive media member in the scene, but so the NASCAR production facilities is a huge facility that was a big investment for NASCAR, and it was investment in their future because prior to, all of our productions were based out of the Charlotte Tower, which wasn't our building. That was something that they paid for, multiple floors, and we had our productions in the studios out of there. So they really wanted to be able to build something that would be ours and would also offer a liaison to our broadcast partners and ultimately set us up for success when it came to whether that was on the streaming side, like what we do with Flow Racing, or on the national scene, like we see the remote booth happening there. And then it also offers an opportunity to work with outside companies to come in and shoot things. So we've partnered with the PGA. They've actually came and had a broadcast run through there. And some of that was a little bit of weather issues, I believe like a year ago, but they've continued to work together on some things. But offering a high-end studio in that region, in that market, and then, I mean, the amount of equipment and satellite and signal and things like that they can do out of there is truly remarkable. And so that, paired with the fact that we have a parking lot for all of our employees and we can keep trucks there, and just, took us out of that downtown struggle, so to speak. It's been really positive. So we're always bringing in and giving tours to there. Different schools come and they tour there on the broadcast media, students and things like that. But yeah, it was a big deal for them to build that and put that much money into it. And I can't remember off the top of my head right now what the amount was, but ultimately it's just to set us up for the next few decades and where they see media going.
Very cool. I mean, you mentioned the PGA because they're coming back to Austin. Is it this year or next year? Of course, they ran the Dell Technologies match play for a long time, and I think they're doing another tournament. It's one of the southern. I want to say Onion Creek, but I may be wrong. So, let's talk about the race itself. You mentioned, of course, Tyler Reddick got the pole. SVG had success. He wins the race yesterday, so he's got a good spot. What else? What other stories are you looking for today?
Man. Well, Connor Zilic obviously yesterday had a tough go with mechanical issues. He starts a little bit further in the back, but I don't think that's going to be an issue for him. So kind of watching him to see how he's going to be able to adapt with the cup car here. I think he had a cup start here last year, right? It was here, yeah. So this would be his second time at COTA in the cup car. So watching him, and then I think I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Host of R. I feel like he's like the guy everyone's chatting about right now. He really wants his first win. We've seen him be really aggressive towards the end of the season, at the beginning of this season. So I don't know where, maybe he's been working hard on his road course and the simulator and things like that. But if we were to see someone that's going to be aggressive here and he can kind of get away with it, I would definitely think it would be him.
Yeah, his Chili's Intimidator-esque car looks really good this weekend.
Yes, it does. It does. And then I'm really curious. There's Brad Keselowski right now with his broken leg. I don't think there's been enough focus on the fact that racing with a broken leg at a road course, how much work that is for like feet work and leg work that's happening here is going to be really challenging for him.
I don't know if he'll make it all day.
He says
he's trying. That's what he said yesterday in the media availability.
Yeah.
But
and did they say, is there a backup?
Joey Hand is here.
So he is here. Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if they sent him home, but yeah, that is intense. Actually, my boyfriend raced with a broken foot at the Chili Bowl, where you have to use a lot of brake there, and it was extremely hard for him. So I can't even imagine a broken leg here. But I think he said, I'm either going to be slow or in a lot of pain.
Yeah,
so I think he's going to choose the second half, because I can't imagine with him being the competitor he is, being slow.
That's got to be rough. I want to ask you this too, and I've asked a couple of the drivers. So last year was the first year where they went with the quote national course. So in other words, they cut out, turn 7 through 11. They got the cut through there. We saw yesterday in the O'Reilly Auto Parts race that 6A, 6B, that seemed to be a corner of calamity, shall we say. What's been the feedback? It seemed very positive that they prefer this national course, this 2.4 mile run, rather than the full 20 turn run.
Yeah, I think they like the shorter course, and maybe it's just how long the laps are. I haven't really dove into exact, quotes on that, but I think we all prefer the shorter course. The feedback I got a lot yesterday was the tire packs.
Yeah.
So I think
the
people,
word of the day today.
The tire packs, people, it's very easy to cut corners and cut the course a little bit, and you can get away with it if it's not a tire pack.
Well, they don't have to worry about track limits like they do with F1.
Yeah.
So,
So I heard a lot about tire packs yesterday. But these drivers, they put on a show here at COTA. We hit on turn 1, right? That's kind of where you see the most of the chaos. And then you're just going to see them overly aggressive in some of these corners, those that you mentioned as well. But yeah, I think the shorter, I don't know what the future holds for NASCAR and like what the executives think, but I think the shorter course, I could see it being something long-term as we move
and that's
forward.
the thing. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback, especially you don't have to worry about that hairpin at 11, to hit that long back straightaway.
Yeah.
That's always kind of one of those that, you could get in trouble real quick. So, but I get that.
But I think it's been a good race. It was a good race yesterday. So we'll see how it works out for the Cup Series.
I think the course fits better. The laps are faster, better for the fans. Lap time, you get to see the cars a few more times. The caution laps are a little bit better with the shorter course.
Yes.
And I mean, 6A is still 6A, 6B right there is still a calamity corner.
Yep.
And it's not like the guys geared up now, like, they don't hit 5th gear anyway, with the short course. So, but let's switch gears. Speaking of switching gears, you like that? See, I did that. That's good, right? I learned that from Rodney. Let's talk about what your duties are this weekend. We touched on it a little bit, seeing you on the big screen, but
Yeah.
obviously you did it in Atlanta. You're doing it here. Are you doing the driver intros and everything this
Yes.
year, or
No,
what
I'm
all are
not.
you doing?
No, my year is crazy. So my year typically splits between the national series now and the short track series. So last year I covered everything that NASCAR owned, from Cup to Xfinity to truck to late models to modifieds to weekly racing, whatever. This year it's not as crazy, but I'm still doing some late model stuff, doing some ARCA stuff. And then the screens things on the national side is one of my favorite things I get to do, which is I'll be hosting at the track. So I do a lot of the pre-race, sometimes driver Q&As, and then they'll have me on pit road before we start the race. We're going to chat with the drivers. And then during the race, when there's cautions, stage breaks, we'll be up in the grandstands or sometimes on pit road showing some behind the scenes. So it's fun because I get to interact with the fans. It reminds me of when I first fell in love with racing at such a young age, like being in the grandstands, and then I get to go and see that through the eyes of fans nowadays, right? Really get to connect with them. So I love doing that. And then when I'm not doing that, though, on broadcast, sometimes, booth or sometimes pit road, just depends on where they send me. And then I'm in the office during the week. So NASCAR 24/7.
She knows her stuff. She's a late model
Hey,
racer.
look,
Art, man.
Look, I'm a football guy.
All right.
It's these guys like him that got me into racing. So
Welcome.
I'm learning. I've been learning though. And like I said, I've been lucky enough to see different series here.
Yes.
I've been up to TMS a couple times. So I've gotten at least I know like this much.
Yeah.
So
well, it sounds like you know a lot.
I'm trying. I'm trying. So.
Well,
I know
welcome
more. I know
anytime.
more about racing than I do soccer, and I did 4 seasons with
Oh,
Austin
wow.
FC. So
Okay, so who's the driver? Who's your driver that you're cheering for?
I don't.
Do you have a favorite
So
yet?
I'm kind of an old school radio guy, media guy. I don't really have a favorite. It goes from week to week. I will say like back in the day with F1, I love Daniel Ricciardo, but I'm a huge fan of Australia. Not to mention he would show up in Texas Longhorn gear, which, hey, I'm an orange blood.
Hey.
So, here I would say I like SVG. It just something about him, kind of it's really cool.
New Zealand, Australian vibe.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. So I like him. I think Tyler Reddick has got a great personality. There aren't too many. Friday had a chance to interview Joey Logano.
Yes.
And he was, very, very, pleasant. And it was funny to see him with the buzz cut. That was weird, but he was great to talk to. So it's just, I just like to see good racing.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, as time goes on and you go to more races, it's you'll find the one that fits, maybe your personality or your compass and what you connect with the person.
Yeah.
But
you can have a fan.
Cool.
You as a fan,
Well,
we get to be fans. But obviously we're not
Yes.
chasing drivers down to
Yeah.
get autographs.
I mean,
or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's why I said, I'm a Longhorn and Cowboys guy, but I've covered the NFL. I've been to Super Bowls. I've covered, of course, college and high school and everything. I'm nowhere near my high school, which is up in East Texas, but I did Lake Travis, so that was kind of the second home team.
Yeah. So
I get that, So I'm a fan. I just, I haven't glommed onto one specific racer. I kind of like them all.
Yeah.
At least for now.
Yeah. It's interesting. My perspective is a little different because I grew up racing myself. So sometimes I actually know some of them from whenever I used to race. Like we crossed paths a bit as kids, but you learn outside of just working in it, like their personality and their life, especially in North Carolina. Like we see them,
see them at dinner and
restaurants,
all that every night,
stuff like that. Yeah. And you see their families and you connect like that. So before, when I was younger, who I was a fan of, which I still am a junior fan and have met him and interviewed him several times, but who you're a fan of as a fan perspective versus a working professional is two different things. Because sometimes you do interview someone, you're like, oh, actually, maybe I'm not a fan of them anymore.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
absolutely right. Yes, and it doesn't matter what sport it is.
That's everywhere, right?
What is it? Don't meet your heroes and don't step
Yes.
on Superman's
Sometimes,
cage because you're like, oh, he can't fly no more.
But I've been lucky. The very first time I interviewed Emmett Smith, when he retired and became a Hall of Famer. That was now. Luckily, that he was wonderful, and I've gotten to talk to him a couple times. Met his son when he was playing in high school football, so it's kind of like that. It is funny, and Kyle Busch seems to be, and I'm going to go pro wrestling because I've been a wrestling guy forever and ever. He's the heel. He's a
fan favorite now.
Okay, so he's kind of
he switched factions. He's not running a Toyota anymore. He got to a bow tie and everybody cheers him now.
So in other words, he left the Four Horsemen and became part of the Dudes with Attitudes. In other words. Okay, I get that.
It's funny because as a kid, I remember what you're referencing, right? Like Kyle Busch, and he still has a very big, sharp personality. But as a kid and growing up, he was considered the villain in NASCAR. And now as an adult, I saw this TikTok about him. It's like, no, I get it. Yeah. You know how he would get really frustrated. Now as an adult, you're like, oh no, I would have that's totally.
Well, and I remember back in the day, there was a time when Joey Logano was kind of a heel.
Yes, yeah.
Well, not anymore. But
so Logano, the thing with Logano is when and I'm sure there was a bit of this with Kyle, but I remember it more vividly with Joey, is when he came onto the scene, he was almost like, the best way to describe it easily is he was almost like how Hocevar is now. Like when he first came on, he was so aggressive, so I'll take you out. I don't care. And it started in the short track, side of things. And then as he moved up, and I think the way he moved up was so fast and it villainized him a little bit with the way
self-entitled, silver spoonish kind of thing.
That's how he was perceived. Which I think he is a very kind individual,
he's great.
But because of the way he came onto the scene and how he raced, like what we see with Carson right now, a bit of that age, a bit of that maybe just a hunger, not caring.
Max Verstappen was the same way when he got big in
that's
F1.
A good connection.
And I remember he'd come out here a couple times, and he was not liked.
Yes.
And of course now he's 4-time world champion, I think.
Guess it worked out.
And it's calmed a bit.
Yes.
But Max and Joey almost seem like parallel. Joey in NASCAR, Max in F1, almost kind of parallel as far as fandoms go. So.
Yeah, I can see that connection there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think he still has his fair share of haters.
Everybody gets a fair share.
Yeah, but
there are people that hate Lewis Hamilton, and he's one of the greatest of all time. So.
Yeah, and I think that's something too. It's like they're kind of circling back to what we were saying, person versus working side, right? It is a switch on. And I think it's okay because as an athlete, same thing with football players. When you're on the field, my dad used to always say when I would get in the race car, he's like, when you're on the track, your friends are not your friends.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'll never forget that because I was so young. I was getting in my car and sitting in the staging area beside me was my friend. And I was putting my helmet on and I was waving at my friend. And my dad was very, very calm, but very direct. And he kneeled down and he was like, is that your friend over there? And I said, yeah. He goes, cool. When you're on the track, you don't have friends.
Yeah.
It is a switch.
Oh, yeah.
It's because sometimes being successful is choosing, right? When you're in sports, do you want to win the game or do you want to give it to your friend?
Right.
Those choices happen
in an individual sport like NASCAR.
Yes.
Although there is a team, it's one driver.
Yeah.
So.
Correct.
It's not personal. It's business is the
It's
phrase
business.
that I use in
You're
the business world.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
I mean,
business.
and you can do your business in a clean way, but are you still going to take the chance, right?
Yeah.
Are you? And I'm not saying taking your friend out is the way. That's what I'm saying. You can race your friend clean and hard, but if it was truly you being a friend on the track, then you might let them win, right? You might let them have it.
Let them win or give them a little spot with 10 laps in versus 10 laps to go.
And kind of closing that all together, though, we've seen the chase come back versus the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I think we do see favors now, where favors were really taken out in the last few years because when you're in. So that's where it's like, oh, I'm not doing any favors because I need to win. I need to get in the playoffs.
Right.
But we're seeing a little bit of give and take early in the season right now with the chase. So anywho.
What's been the early feedback about the change with the postseason format?
Super positive.
Okay.
I think everybody's really happy that we're back to the chase. But it is, I even have to remind myself, I'm like, okay, we're points. Like you need a good points day.
Yeah, well, you hear that phrase a lot.
Yes.
Heard it throughout the race yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have some notes too of people I'm interviewing today, and a lot of it is points, like where they are on the point standings and how important that is and things like that. So, yeah.
Well, speaking of the rest of your day,
I
we don't want to
know.
keep you all day. I knew you were going to be fun. We always enjoy.
I could chat all day with you guys.
Hey, we appreciate it too.
Where is the best place? Because obviously you've got an interesting background with the racing and the pageants and stuff like that. Where, and I know that we were talking yesterday, you're trying to expand your social media reach. Where's the best place for
Yeah.
people to find you on social media before you turn you loose and let you do your day job out here?
Thanks. Well, find me. I have a website, jacquelinedrake.com. All my socials connected. So Instagram, Facebook. Those are my two favorite. And I do TikTok. I love TikTok. I have fun on there. Like some of my goofy stuff goes on TikTok.
Okay.
But yeah, follow me. Let's be friends. I follow the journey, the crazy racing life. You know how it all goes.
All right.
So I actually have next weekend off, which I'm excited for. And then I'll be back on the road at Vegas. So there we
now
go.
Be careful. Now don't take your better half to Vegas. You never know what happened.
Oh
right?
geez. No elopement happening at Vegas. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you don't need an Elvis impersonator as a
no
minister that day. Yeah.
not this time. So well, thank you so much for having me.
I just friended you on
all
Facebook.
right,
So there you go.
perfect.
Well, JKD,
enjoy the
it's
race.
always a fun time. I'm just
Appreciate
teasing about Vegas, but
Oh, know,
I can
I'm
only do
sure
about 3-4 days.
people
in Vegas,
do it.
and then I'm out.
The last time I was there was for the Miss for America pageant when I went back to crown the new Miss for America. So it's been all business the last like 2 times I was in Vegas competing and then going back to crown. So I'm actually excited to go to Vegas, and I'll be working, of course, but in my downtime, I'll be able to maybe explore a little.
There you go.
yeah,
All
try
right.
Fremont.
Yeah.
Fremont's a little less crazy.
Yes, I have
Yeah.
been there. It's fun. I've done the zip line a couple times through there, and I just love the music and all the
It's
screens.
nuts.
What's the new casino that Brad and them went to with the big pool?
Oh, the blue.
Is that Circa?
Circa.
No,
yeah,
Fountain
Circa.
Blue.
Fountain Blue, yes.
Yeah.
I've
See,
been
they
there
hosted
too.
a lot of the WrestleMania stuff last
Yeah.
year.
Yes,
so.
it's beautiful. It also smells great in there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Circa's a great.
Circa's
new.
great.
Circa's great. They got a
Is it?
stadium. suite.
The last couple
Okay,
times I
okay.
stayed at the Plaza, which is right there at the end of
Yes.
Fremont. So
Very cool.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, now I
Alright.
get some good recs. So.
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
I'm off. I'm off
I was
to
gonna say,
work.
Go do
You're
your
off to
stuff.
Bye,
work.
guys. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Appreciate it.
There it is, the one and only JKD, Miss Jacqueline Drake. I'll text
That
you
was
about the
awesome.
other stuff later.
That
All
was
right,
awesome.
guys. So that is the one and only
That was great.
Jacqueline Drake.
She's fantastic.
Oh, I love having her on the show. She's so great. Her insight is so good because she understands the sport from so many different aspects.
Yeah.
She knows it from the competitive side, from being a racer herself. She knows it from a family side of being involved with their parents with Second Opinion Auto Repair out of the Metroplex area, where they take 5 cars to the Chili Bowl.
Yeah.
You know, they do all kind of racing, and she covers racing, like she said, she covers racing all over the country, all different types of series. So I know we kept her a lot longer than we intended.
Well, but I mean,
she wasn't trying to escape. That's a
she
good
was,
thing.
Yeah, she was kind enough to give us that time, and I loved. She's wonderful. So yeah, I just friended her on Facebook. So
Yeah, no, she's
be
really
great.
cool.
Yeah.
So back to, I guess we'll go back to, before we take our first break, we'll go kind of over the results yesterday. We mentioned the O'Reilly Auto Parts race a couple of times. Obviously, it was won by SVG, which I wouldn't say it was a dominating performance. I would say it was more of a impressive performance would be the word that I would have used. The way he's able to come from, they weren't running for points, so they flipped some stages, and a couple of them passes. That last pass for the win, 4 wide in turn 1, that was impressive.
Well, and he did that at least twice during the race, where he would find it was almost like it was always coming around the corner. He would know exactly like when to brake and just find a kind of just slide. It was always on the inside. And then eventually he just ended up, and he was usually like, 4th or whatever, hit that brake, do this turn, and then boom, he's out front. And for a race, and he mentioned on the post-race interview on CW that, he wasn't running his best race, but man, he was if that's not his best race, I would, watch out if he does run his best race. He's
Yeah.
going to be hard to beat.
I think for me, the most impressive thing for me when I watch Shane Van Gisbergen race, especially in something with an H pattern,
Yeah.
it's one thing with the sequential shifter, but pop it with your other hand when you're used to it. But when you go from a right-hand drive machine and you shift your H pattern with your left hand, and then you go to a left-hand drive machine and you got to switch your H pattern with your right hand, completely different. The fact that he makes that look so smooth and so easy with the heel clutch and all of that, the right foot braking and the clutch and all that,
Yeah.
it's just amazing. In fact, it's so crazy he doesn't even let people watch his feet work anymore.
Really?
When he did the debut race in Chicago, they put a camera at his feet, the one that he won in his debut, and he doesn't let anybody, because everybody was talking about how did he do that? Well, that's the way he was taught over there in Australia with the supercars and the road racing. But interesting race. As we said, Connor Zilic got into a late race altercation with Corey Day, took him out of contention in the top 5.
Little bit of tension.
Yeah, a little bit of tension there, but I think the young guys will wrap it up. Obviously, Corey Day has a lot to learn.
Yes.
He's obviously a rookie in the sport. He's put himself into some questionable positions the last couple of days.
17 or 19?
17, number 17.
Age.
Oh, he just turned 18, I think.
Just turned 18. Okay. So yeah, he's still a young guy. And it was, and it was funny. So again, on the post race on the CW, they talked to Connor Zilic first, and Connor was not happy. You could see. I mean, it was pretty obvious.
He was pretty disappointed.
And he was trying to be, kind of like, okay, whatever. But you could see he was pretty upset. And then it seemed like they went right to Corey Day, and Corey owned up to it, and he even said, "Look, I'll go and apologize to him." So hopefully they worked that out. But man, there was some tension, and it was so funny because they were like maybe 20 feet away from each other in the post race.
Yeah, it was tense. The post race was tense.
It was
the production staff and the producer that got the message.
Yeah,
they knew exactly what they were doing.
Oh, they were.
They knew exactly what they were doing. Recapping the top 5, obviously SVG, your winner. Austin Hill finishes second, takes command of the point series lead. Him and Jesse Love. You got Sammy Smith running third, Jesse Love in fourth. Corey Day rounds out the top 5. Brent Cruz in his debut, 6th. William Sawalich 7th. 8th, Justin Allgaier. Ross Chastain had a very interesting race, a little beating and banging pretty much all day. Most impressive run of the day for me, top 10 finish, number 44, Brennan Poole. Was able to survive a race. Anytime it doesn't matter if it's a speedway, doesn't matter if it's a road course. A top 10 in the O'Reilly series is impressive. Kind of a low budget blue collar team, so a good solid run for them. Other notables in there, you got Sam Mayer in 14th, had some late race drama. Carson Quapple, who ran very well pretty much all day in a junior motorsports prepared car for another race team. Connor Zilic, before mentioned, is number 21. And then you've got a few other guys, Harrison Burton, 29th, Jeremy Clements, 32nd. And then you had Austin J. Hill, didn't have a very good run there, rounding out the field there in 38th. So good race. I thought it was very interesting. The storylines were there. It had everything that I was looking for to be considered a great race. As far as SVG winning the Focus Health 250 in 37 starts, that is win number 5. Granted, all on road courses, that math is not my best subject. That's pretty good winning percentage.
Yes.
That's a very, very high winning percentage. And it's his first top 10. He finally, this racetrack owes him one. Now, he didn't say that in any of the press conferences that, he's not one of those racers that says the racetrack owes you anything. But this one's got away from him a couple of different times.
Well, that was mentioned quite a bit, both yesterday and then in his press conference on Friday, mentioned about how this track has eluded him, with the wins, the road course wins and such. So it was good to see that.
He said it as a lack of execution versus a way of not win. He didn't say it owes him, but he blamed himself.
And again, he mentioned, he said he didn't run his best race. But again, I think you mentioned Sam Mayer. Sam Mayer second in stage 1, won stage 2. So he got some points yesterday, which was good. So
Sheldon Creed, I think, was 11th, his teammate. So they have a lot of good fun. Yeah, Sheldon Creed 11th. But yeah, I think that that RCR Alliance with the Haas Factory team there in the Rally Series, massive points lead right now. RCR in the lead. Austin Hill leads by 28 over Jesse Love.
Wow. Big one.
It's a
I
lot
mean,
of,
it's early.
it's early in the season, but that's
Early in
a
the
lot. 28 points. That's 3/4 of a race right there.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
So that was fun. Once again, thanks Jacqueline Drake for coming in to the studio. As we said, live here from Circuit of the Americas, in the Circuit of the Americas studio, Studio 4, ironically. That's the old name of the studio that we had back up in Round Rock. So we're in here in Studio 4, right across the street from the Mobility Pit Box. We'll have more information on that coming up on the other side of the break. But right now, we're going to re-rack, restack, take a quick break, and we'll be back here in just a couple of minutes here live on the race day edition from COTA for the Dynamax Texas Grand Prix here at Circuit of the Americas.
Why is branded apparel so important for your company? Well, because a shirt or even a hat that has your brand on it gets worn to grocery stores, baseball games, or even family reunions. The impressions are endless and they last years. Contact us today so we can help elevate your company.
Hi, this is Tom McKay with Audiovisual Consultations. Today's home electronics can be a bit daunting. My company has spent the last 36 years making sure they are not. For those of you who have not experienced our services yet, we'd like to invite you to give us a try for all your home electronics needs. We carry all the major brands of televisions and stereo equipment at prices you can't find in stores. And we come to you. There's no need to leave your home to find great pricing and incomparable service. No traffic, inexperienced sales geeks, or pushy showroom tactics. We believe in having some fun and dreaming big. You have a dream for your home entertainment? Let us know. We can make it come true. And we are always there to help after the job is done. We cultivate clients for a lifetime by treating everyone like their family. No, not those family members. I'm talking about the ones you actually like. So relax, hug your kids, make love to your wife, and smile. Then, when you have a moment, give us a call at 255-8678. That's 512-255-8678. Or online at avconsultations.com.
All right, back here live, Circuit of the Americas, as we said, part of the race day for the Duramax Texas Grand Prix presented by Reliodine here at Circuit of the Americas. Bobby Chaffee here with Stu Myrick as we get ready to talk about the main event, if you will, NASCAR Cup Series racing action starting here later today. I think TV time here, I think it's 2 o'clock.
2:30. 2:30 goes on the air on Fox with Chris Meyer and the gang there. I've had great chances to visit with Chris Meyer back in the day, and I always enjoyed talking a little bit of NASCAR with him. So, of course, he does a lot of football stuff as well. But yeah, it'll be a good broadcast, and of course, another great way to showcase the ATX and certainly.
I think they've done a good job of that. Obviously, Trackhouse did an interesting remote, I say remote, but an event there on 6th Street with the Trackhouse Club or something it was called. So, our Trackhouse night there on 6th Street, I think it was Friday night. So, a lot of people, some of the media members, we heard them talking about it on Friday and Saturday. So,
we're less than 2 weeks away from South by Southwest. So
yeah, unfortunately. I think it's good, though. This fits in really good schedule-wise. It's a little early in the season, I think. But when you think about what happens in Austin, a lot of times the Dell Match Play, you mentioned it before, was always going on the same weekend as we did Circuit of the Americas.
It was 22 or 23. I had to split my time because I was at Austin Country Club covering that, and then come out here to do the race.
It's kind of like when they do F1 in the same weekend as Longhorn football.
Oh,
that'd make a lot of sense.
Ooh, especially if it's a home game.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff to do in Austin. Austin can handle it.
Forget getting a hotel.
I was gonna say the hotels are a little pricey. But back to the matter at hand here. Obviously, the push, we've talked about it before with Jacqueline and earlier today. Tyler Reddick, Bush Pole Award winner for the number 45 Chumba Casino Toyota. Big time momentum with the Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin owned team. And they've done a lot of good stuff. Pole time here was 97.76 seconds at an average speed of 88.38 miles per hour. 12th pole. In 221 NASCAR Cup Series starts. But I think in terms of the way that they were going to go about it is very surprising. We got a chance to listen to or be part of the press conference there with Tyler Reddick. And obviously the practice times for the Toyotas were not really that impressive. They were down the charts. And then all of a sudden, boom, here they come on the pole. So here's what Tyler Reddick had to say about picking up between his practice and qualifying for his Chumba Casino Toyota.
Yeah, for us, I was more so just trying to understand what our car would be like over the course of the run. I would have liked to fire off a fast lap, but it wasn't super high priority in practice for us. So, yeah, I mean, funny enough, I realized that was kind of our approach in practice, and we're sitting there getting ready to go qualifying. I'm like, man, I haven't pushed this thing once this hard on fresh tires, so I just kind of had to find the marks, and somehow I did without doing it in practice.
You know, for those that don't know, in terms of it, I think if you don't know, you've been hiding under a rock. That Tyler Reddick has won the first 2 Cup races, first guy in I think 17 years. Matt Kenseth did it, the last guy to go back to back in the early 2000s. But in terms of the way that's played out, obviously, when you have an opportunity to go for 3 in a row from the front row, I think that changes your momentum, and I think it changes a lot of things in terms of what you're able to do from it.
And of course, he'd be the first NASCAR driver
First
to
NASCAR
do
driver to go
row.
3 in a row. It's going to be impressive if he does it. The black helicopters are already floating around. We'll get into that. We'll get into that in a minute. But they asked Tyler Reddick about the possibility and the prospect of going 3 in a row from the front row.
It helps the chances, certainly. I think starting up front is huge. We got we did the same thing last year. Shane and Kyle were able to get around us early, so we need to maintain that, hang on to it this time around. It certainly helps. Obviously, I think pit road under green, everything's pretty even, but certainly if things kind of get off sequence and pit road gets busy, having that first choice is nice to have in the race. So, yeah, we'll just see how it gets going. Certainly, Ross, Shane, Ryan Blaney, there's a number of drivers that were really strong in practice today. We're just trying to understand what all that looks like and make our best decisions on the car and everything overnight going into tomorrow's race.
So there you go. And of course, start from pole. He's got a shot.
He's definitely got a shot. He's won here before. Not the defending race winner, but he's got some wins here before and some incredible battles there towards the end. In terms of the black helicopter, not trying to spread no rumors, just saying we've heard a little bit of rumblings.
Are we putting the tinfoil hat on?
I don't know. The thing is that a lot of the people that we've heard with the rumblings, and I don't believe it to be true, but it's something that we have to just talk about because we got to talk about it, right? Is that obviously the team is 2311 along with Front Row Motorsports sued NASCAR, took NASCAR to court. They settled before the trial got real deep. It cost the commissioner Steve Phelps his job when they went to court, and I got to see some of the text messages and different stuff that came through the teams. But now the reason the helicopters are out, as people are saying, is this NASCAR's way of saying we're sorry.
Okay,
because you go from suing NASCAR to dominating the first 2 races. And then on the pole for the 3rd. So I'm not saying I believe it. I've never felt that NASCAR's rigged. There's too many variables for NASCAR to rig it. It's kind of like the NFL. When you see the opening season poster, how they pull straws out and suck at straws to try to say, well, just because the right hand corner had the color of the Super Bowl team that made it, it's kind of like last year it was a little different last year. Because you had the 2 teams that made the Super Bowl were the first 2 closest to the Lombardi, so I think that one had a little bit more steam. Although there's no way they're fixing races, no way they're fixing games. Basketball, different story.
Look. So I have covered pro wrestling. I've worked in pro wrestling, and it is a lot of the older pro wrestlers think everything's a work. Everything is rigged. I am not one of those people, and I've been lucky enough. I've covered the NFL. I've been up at Jerry World, and I've done Super Bowls, and I've done this. Can you imagine the amount of stuff that has to come together for them to fix someone to win?
Yeah, it's a little easier in basketball, but that's a whole nother story for another show.
Yeah. It's. One of the notes, and I think I saw it early. I think I saw it yesterday. You mentioned 2311. Number 23 is going to be here.
Yeah.
MJ, he will be on site at COTA. So, of course, that's going to be huge.
Yeah.
And we're used to seeing celebrities out here, especially during F1 weekend. I met Lindsey Vaughn here for F1. Of course, she had to run in the Olympics. Of course, broke her leg. We wish her the best. But Michael Jordan on site at Circuit of the Americas.
I think they're finally catching on to that because now we've seen Michael Jordan on TV. I hope that they don't overshadow that with the actual amounts of the race. I still think it's cool. I think it's underrated that Michael Jordan it's an understory to a certain extent.
It is
because and he doesn't want the spotlight.
No.
He just wants the competitive fire. But I still think when you have the most recognizable sports athlete on the planet as a car owner in NASCAR, because Roddy and I both had it when he was suing NASCAR. I had people that had no interest in racing whatsoever texting and calling me or asking me, why is Michael Jordan suing NASCAR? I'm like, oh, he's a team owner.
Well,
Like, hell, I didn't know that.
You think, way back in the day when Joe Gibbs got in, started Joe Gibbs Racing. And of course, this was right after he won the Super Bowl with the Redskins, of course, now Commanders.
Yeah, it's all right.
But it's, again, and that wasn't to the level of Michael Jordan, but it's still a Super Bowl winning NFL coach.
I mean, a
Hall of Famer.
public figure to a certain extent.
He is pro football Hall of Famer.
And a NASCAR Hall of Famer now. Too.
And now, yeah. So, but I think they have done, at least watching the coverage on Fox, they have done a good job of, yes, they touch on the fact he is out here or he's at the track, but it's not obviously the lead story for that race. So yeah, it's it's going to be fun to watch this race. And again, like yesterday, I chuckled about I'm so used to seeing F1 out here, and they strictly enforce track limits where two wheels have to at least.
Well, they've done it before. NASCAR's done it before.
And they've done it before air, but it wasn't yesterday. So F1 two wheels have to be at least on the paint. Yesterday they were doing. I mean, in fact, of course, we're right down from turn 20, and they would wide, and they're out in the in the blacktop past the past the paint.
Yeah,
and there was no worry, nothing about it, which that's fine, and you understand when Circuit of the Americas was first built in 2012. The thing we heard forever and ever
NASCAR wasn't supposed to come here when they built this.
Well, we heard they couldn't run here.
Yeah. Well,
now that got proved wrong. In fact, I was here for the 2019 F1 weekend when Tony Stewart brought his Cup car and he ran it and said, "Yeah, they could run easily." And then, of course, 2 years later, we get the first Grand Prix here for NASCAR. So they have proved they could run here. Now, yes, of course, now got the 2.4 mile run instead of the full 3.4,
which I think is better. They need to bring the trucks. They need to bring the trucks back and run this short course.
That would be
because they put on a hell of a race in St. Petersburg yesterday.
Yeah, I like watching the trucks as well. But yeah, so it's going to be a fun race. Obviously, turn one, and I remember one of the first times we came out here, Martin Truex Jr. was doing, I think he was doing tire tests. And he called that the corner of calamity. Now I think 6A is 6A is kind of taking over as that. But
and the S's are always going to be the calamity because I think in terms of the track limits, like you're talking about, we saw yesterday. If you hit one of the tire bundles, or tire packs, I think Shane calls them tire bundles, because that's what they call them in Australia. Tire packs is what we call them over here. If you hit one of those tires, you're done anyway.
Oh yeah,
you're done. That's enough penalty. But rest of the top five, you've got Ross Chastain second, Chase Briscoe surprisingly, in my opinion, third, Ryan Blaney underestimated fourth, Chase Elliott fifth, Michael McDowell rounded out sixth when he was fastest in the first group, Edge Allmendinger, another guy to watch, in seventh, Christopher Bell, defending race winner, eighth, Ty Gibbs in ninth, William Byron, another former race winner, there in 10th, and surprisingly, I think, one of the good stories to start out the 2026 season has been the performance of Zane Smith in the number 38, Aaron's rent-to-own Ford. And we actually got a chance to talk to him the other day on Saturday morning. And we talked to him not only about his beginning of his season, but we talked to him about being affiliated with Ford because what they did is back in January during the World Ford launch, they brought out a number of NASCAR drivers, and he was one of them, and it surprised me. But let's hear what he had to say about it. All right, here was Zane Smith. Question that I have: back in January, you got to do the Ford Racing World launch. How cool was that deal, being with the rest of the Ford drivers across the world, man?
Yeah, that's that was my first time doing that in Detroit there, and man, it was really cool. It's actually insane, just how many Ford drivers I guess there are outside of NASCAR, right? And so that was really cool. And yeah, it was just a cool introduction for them with their F1 group, and yeah, that was kind of cool to just have everyone in one space there for a couple of days. So it's cool to be a part of it.
So how cool is it to know, past Ford champion? I mean, do they have as much involvement in the trucks as they used to, or is it still win on Sunday, sell on Monday? Is it more for the cups, or they just want the brand awareness to sell anything with a blue oval?
Yeah, I mean, no, I feel they are definitely they care a lot about the truck series, and of course, I mean, they're going to care a lot about the Cup Series. It's their main thing, but yeah, it's been cool to talk to Jim Farley and Edsel about how passionate they are about the Truck Series, and it was cool to get that championship.
Yeah, that was cool. And they mentioned, of course, the having the whole Ford World deal, which and you don't think about it, but how much Ford is involved in pretty much just about every racing series.
Actually, if it's got 4 wheels on it, there's a blue oval running in it somewhere. So it's very impressive. That was a unique event. It was posted on the Ford Racing Facebook page. They just rebranded from Ford Performance back to Ford Racing. I'm not a fan of the racing font on the Ford Racing logo, but I am a Ford guy. Despite driving Nissan Titan trucks, when it comes to motorsports, I am a Ford guy through and through. Speaking of another Ford guy, on the opposite end of the spectrum would be Noah Gragson in the Rush Truck Center's Ford. He's starting 35th out of 37 cars, so he's got a hell of a battle awaiting him today, trying to come from the back. But one of his sponsors locally, if you call it local to Central Texas, down in New Braunfels, the Rush Truck Center's world headquarters is down in New Braunfels. So we got a chance to talk to him, not only about that, but also about his relationship with Ford. All right, Noah Gragson here. So you're sponsored by Rush Truck Centers, headquartered probably 30 miles away down in New Braunfels. Have you had a chance to go down to the worldwide headquarters down there and hang out with Rusty for a little bit?
I have yet to be down there at their headquarters, but been around different parts of the country with Rush Truck Centers, and super cool company to be a part of and represent. Rusty Rush and all their employees. They have over 8,000 employees. It's a big company, so it's always cool when you're driving down the highway and you see a Rush Truck Centers truck and it's painted up just like our race cars are. It's really cool. So I enjoy it. Love Rusty to death, and all the employees. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, Boyer used to say he was quite a partier at his barn, or one of the barns. I don't know if it's Boyer's barn or Rusty's barn. Have you got a chance to experience any of that fun extracurricular stuff with those guys?
Not much. We try to keep it pretty serious for the most part.
The involvement with Ford Racing this year, how cool has it been to hang out and be part of that worldwide Ford Blue Oval brand?
He's here right now or no?
No.
No, it's great. Yeah, they just came out with their new logo, Ford Racing. It looks sweet, and always fun driving for the Ford family. It truly is a family of drivers. It's a family when you represent the Blue Oval. So I have a lot of fun driving their different vehicles. I know I've bought an F-150 at home, supercharged 700 horsepower F-150. So not only do I drive their cars on the racetrack, but I also believe in their product off the racetrack and have bought some vehicles by myself. So it's pretty fun. Got a Raptor as well, and it's always fun. I like the trucks personally, but the Mustangs, they're always fun too. The dark horses, they're fast, man. So great to drive for the Ford family. Edsel Ford and his vision, everybody down the line. It truly is a family. So very grateful to be a part of it.
Now that hat. That was
you love the hat. That
was one hell of a hat.
The ironic part about that, when he's talking about is so-and-so, did you ask me that because he stands? There was the Ford PR guy was actually standing to my right with his phone out.
Yeah.
And I had just intended, like I said, when I watched the Ford thing, there was a couple of NASCAR drivers that came out. Noah was one of them. Zane was one of them. A couple other guys. Obviously, you had the superstars like Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney, who came out and debuted the 2027 Mustang Dark Horse SC, which they announced at the Ford World that's going to be the Cup car in 2027, which is, the Mustang that's not your average everyday American can afford at, $90,000. But I mean, it is what it is, right? You're showcasing what you got to showcase, right? The performance one.
That's the truth.
Because, the funny part is that, the manufacturers and stuff are involved for the brand awareness, right?
Yeah.
We know that, obviously, because it really is the way that they set it up. Ford is interested in the truck series. They have somewhat limited involvement in the O'Reilly series, and obviously they're all in the Cup series. We see it with supercars around the world. When Ford wins, Ford talks about it.
Yeah.
They had a big thing about the trucks, swept the top 4 yesterday down in St. Petersburg, all to read a couple of different teams, but it was a Ford F-150 top 4 sweep. Down there. But I think is what it is the brand awareness is they don't care if it's an F-150, they don't care if it's a Mustang, or a Mustang that the average person can't afford. As long as they're buying a blue oval, that's all that matters to Ford.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the company was founded on racing, with sweepstakes back in the day. If sweepstakes doesn't win that race, Ford Motor Company doesn't exist.
Yeah, you're right, and that's kind of I guess, to pull the curtain back a little bit. That's when we get to interact with drivers. Yes, there's usually a PR person either with that team or with the car maker, whatever, and they're there to and even when I interviewed Joey Logano on Friday, I worked with a great young man by the name of Drew, who was super cool, and that's the thing. But yeah, you want that. They want those brand, though. That's why. Whether it's Chevy or Ford or Toyota, the fact that, you'll see sometimes when during the race they show the who's running where, and they'll show the makes, and they brag about the fact, it was, all Toyota's top 5 or whatever, so, and that's the way, like in golf, they taught you whether it's Callaway or TaylorMade or one of the other club makers. They want that brand out there because yes, it increases sales, increases the visibility. So yeah, it was great to hear those two guys. I didn't realize that RUSS was based in New Braunfels.
That's right, worldwide headquarters right there in New Braunfels.
It's kind of funny because most people when they think stop in New Braunfels, they think of Buc-ee's.
Yeah, so, it's right down the street, actually, a couple exits down. So before we wrap things up here, we mentioned earlier in the broadcast the mobility pit box. I don't know if you got a chance to see it. It was showcased here. I believe Jacqueline was the one that actually was doing it on site yesterday.
And I'm going to try to see. Let me try to.
So while you work on that, I'll explain a little bit the way that it works. So what it is the NASCAR mobility pit box. It's right across the right across the street, right across the pit lane from us. Is that it gives people with disabilities the opportunity to take their equipment, and you see the ramp. You'll see the ramp there on the right-hand side.
Let me see if this works. It's bright outside, but it's
live and in person. There it is, mobility pit box. You can see it right there.
All right.
Good job, Stu. So what it is, you see there on the right-hand side is a ramp, and they are able to, obviously, they have other people, not just the mobility portion of it. You see where people come up on the left-hand side, come up, sit, experience a NASCAR pit box. It's a full-size box, just like you kind of normally see on pit road. Might be a little small from some of the bigger teams, but you have the ramp coming up, and you can put your access right there by the
lift on the right side.
On the right side, yeah, and it's a cool deal. It's something that I was very, it goes to show you that you get to see things at the racetrack. You don't have to watch it on TV, but you get the opportunity to come through and see stuff. That's what Jacqueline does such a great job. Here to do kind of that stuff. But we just wanted to showcase NASCAR's initiative to be very inclusive.
I see
there with the NASCAR mobility pit box.
I see a medic soldier up there. Of course, former veteran myself. So hey, shout out to him. Hoo-ah.
So we're going to wrap it up here in just a minute, but we talked about qualifying order. We'll talk about race predictions here in just a second. But Stu, tell me your overall vibe this year compared to the other ones. We talked about it with a little bit with Jacqueline in terms of the vibe we felt. I noticed it the second I pulled in the parking lot. There were I pulled in about 9:45, and there were already flags out. There were coolers being emptied. There was alcohol being consumed that early in the morning. It seemed like a normal, good vibe for a race day that you expect. The fans are starting to file in. We saw a lot of them before we came on the air. down there, right in the pit lane where the haulers are versus where underneath the suites where the garages are. So what's your take on the day as a whole so far?
You're right. In fact, I got here a little earlier, and there was there's a gentleman, his daughter, I believe, and they were going to tailgate a little bit, and it's I'm so used to tailgating for football, downtown for Texas games. So it's good to see, and you can see fans walking around there towards the end of the grandstands. NASCAR is one of those series, and it's always interesting because Formula One was here November, December, January, so
October,
4 months ago, and it's such a night and day type of deal where F1 you got to pay a lot of money to even sniff,
Oh, you can't even get off pit road with that.
Where here they're open, they let people, and you'll see people. I saw folks coming into here because there's the COTA Cafe, which is part of the media center, and they had the trophies on display. So yeah, I mean it's a beautiful day out here, Southwest Austin. It's going to be gorgeous. And this is year 6 of NASCAR at COTA. They've got everything down so well.
Yeah, SMI does a great. They do a great job. You've been here for Formula One. You've been here for NASCAR. This is not a Formula One field.
No,
this is a NASCAR field. It's the same people that run Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah,
it's got that same vibe as an SMI race. You're at a NASCAR race. You may be at a NASCAR race at a Formula One track, but you don't get the Formula One vibe here at all.
No, that's the thing. It's night and day, not just with the fan experience, but with our experience. Because again, with FIA running Formula One, they're very restrictive. You can't do that. I remember we'd have to put like geo blockers when we were broadcasting, because the broadcast couldn't go outside, whatever. NASCAR with the Speedway Motorsports folks, Scott Cooper and everybody here, they do everything. They bend over backwards to accommodate, and they're so wonderful. And every year, come in, see Scott, and we're hugging and we're chit chatting, catching up. They're just fantastic people, and some of the best people to work with. And it's just a different vibe, and it's so fun to come out here. And look, I love coming out to COTA. I've been lucky enough to come out here so many times for so many different events. NASCAR is it's ours. Just like, F1 is the rest of the world. NASCAR is ours.
Yeah.
And to see everybody come out here and enjoy the racing, it's, if you take care of the fans and you take care of us, hey, it's always fun, covering the Cowboys. Whatever you want to say about Jerry Jones, as a GM or everything, he made sure to take care of the fans, and definitely he always took care of the media. He took care of those of us things.
Yeah.
And so they may go 8-8, or now 9-8, 17-game season now, but Jerry will take care of the media, and so that's why
Jerry's still selling jerseys.
It's still the Cowboys been mediocre for 2 decades. They're still among the most valuable franchises in all of pro sports.
Until they sell the Seahawks for that record-breaking number.
Yeah, but even then, it's going to be
Jerry World is what makes that number the best.
It does.
That's what makes it the most valuable.
I believe that thing's almost 20 years old.
I know. Well, they do a better job at Jerry World than they do at NRG. NRG is a 25-year-old stadium.
Yes.
When they're in it.
Yes.
So in terms of the race picks today, we talked about it beforehand. Obviously, despite starting 13th, it's SVG's race to lose. So that's low-hanging fruit.
Yes.
In terms of picking somebody to win. I told you earlier, so you could get your notes together, get your idea together. So other than our friend in the number 97 Safety Culture Chevrolet for Trackhouse Racing, Mr. SVG, who's your pick to win the race today?
You know what? I'm going to go for history. I want Tyler Reddick to win because I want to see that history. He has had such an amazing start to this season. Gets checker plate, gets Daytona, gets Atlanta, wins here, first driver to win 3, the first three in a row. I think he's got all the tools to make it happen. So I'm gonna say Tyler Reddick.
You know, my heart wants me to go with the number 1 Busch Light Chevy because it's Ross Chastain has the Longhorn.
Yes.
You know, kind of like out the old
Yeah.
Boss Hall Cadillac. My heart wants me to go that way, but believe it or not, my brain is going to go to row number 3. You got Chase Elliott, who is yet to win in a Gen 7 car on a road course.
Right.
Dominated in the.
He won the
Gen
first race
6.
here, though.
Won the first.
He won
but
in
that was a Gen
2021.
6 car.
It was, and it was in the rain. It was rain shortened.
Yeah. But I have my eye on the Cat's Coffee Chevrolet number 71 from Michael McDowell. Not just because the Cat's Coffee is really good.
That's right. They got Cat's Coffee here.
Cat's Coffee at the Media Center for a good free plug for Cat's Coffee. That's been really good all weekend. Keeping the energy up, keeping the vibe up, and stuff like that. But that's my pick. So you got Tyler Reddick. I have got Michael McDowell. We both think SVG is going to win.
Yeah.
But that's low hanging fruit, so we're not going there. But that's it. So we are past the top of the hour here for your live pre-race show here at COTA for the Duramax Texas Grand Prix powered by Reliodine. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Those that are doing both. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel. You can see Stu's interview with Joey Logano on there. What else is on there? Something else that you did that's on there.
Let's see. It was SVG on Friday.
SVG on Friday.
Yeah.
That's right. So a couple of the extra interviews. We'll probably try to post some more content on there. Next regular Rev'd Up Sports show will be to be determined. Hope it'll be sometime next week when we do a wrap-up show here of all the things happening at Circuit of the Americas for NASCAR at COTA. So we thanks our friends On Demand Shirts. Thanks to Audiovisual Consultation, Tom McKay and the boys and girls over there. Thanks to Stu Meyer. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to my friend Cato Martinez, who may still be listening.
Race starts 2:30 p.m. Central on Fox. So tune in, watch the Duramax Texas Grand Prix from Circuit of the Americas.
That's right. So on behalf of Stu, I'm Showtime Bobby Chaffee. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. God bless. Have a